After I ask the question, wait 1 second because I want to cut my voice and just answer.
Okay.
And
Thank
if
you.
you can answer like including the question, because in the documentary we're not going to have the questions.
فسرت لها.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
When students come to you, what are their main concerns?
Okay. When students come to me, some of their main concerns are, I will categorize them in two categories. One of the categories is, we say, like immediate, which is crisis intervention. That means that they're coming to me because something happened that they're going through. It could be stress at home, it could be stress from university, exams coming up. It's a current situation that they're needing support with. And the second is, sometimes they come because they realize that there's a deeper issue that they want to resolve, which they didn't realize that they need to talk to somebody about, but they're ready to address this bigger issue and they don't know where to start. So normally they would come to me, and that's their starting point.
How do you support those students?
So how do I support students with mental health concerns? It depends on what concern students are coming with. For example, I have a model that I use, which is a wave level of intervention. So we have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Wave 1 is where students just need that maybe indirect support, or they need resources that I can share with them, websites, videos, just a channel or where I can direct them to find resources that will support them with the issue that they're experiencing. Wave 2 will be for something which is more serious. Maybe it will be, check-in, or it will be for something specific, and then we might have 2 to 4 sessions just working on that particular issue. Another one is, say for example, wave 3, which is more of a severe issue that they're experiencing, and then the kind of support or intervention will be either referring them to an outside mental health professional, or to a psychiatrist, or to to educational psychologists, depending what it is that they come with. But this is normally how I would support students coming to me.
What's your objective when it comes to the university students who approach you?
So my objective when working with university students that come to me to ask for support is to make sure that they feel supported, is to give them a starting point of an outline of a plan of what they can do for whatever issue that they're facing. So for example, if it's anxiety, my initial role is to be able to understand where do they fit along the lines of wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and according to that make a treatment plan to support them. So if it's indirect support, like I said, it will be my objective. The main objective is just for them to feel supported, like they have somewhere to go and they have somebody to talk to. They have a safe space of which is a starting point for them.
Have you ever dealt with students who have severe anxiety and depression? If so, what is it like?
Have I ever dealt with students who came forward with serious anxiety and depression? Yes. At this university and in general as well. It's not uncommon that students feel extremely overwhelmed. Maybe it's an accumulation of something that they've been going through in the past that they didn't deal with, and now it's like a volcano erupting almost, and this is where they, I think the important thing before going forward is to mention, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's struggling with severe anxiety and depression, that that's who they are always or who they've always been. So you can find that there's somebody who might seem normal and they don't really have many issues, but then all of a sudden they are unable to get out of bed, they don't want to come to university, they're running out of their exams, and then they will come to me not knowing what the problem is. So it's very rewarding helping students with severe anxiety and depression, because it gives them clarity. Most people are willing to put in the work to resolve an issue that they know they have. But the biggest problem with students with severe anxiety and depression that I've noticed is that they don't have clarity, they don't know what to do because they don't know what's wrong with them. I'm not saying what's wrong with them, but they don't have an understanding of what they're experiencing. So it's rewarding because it gives them a sense of direction, and then they're willing to put in the work to try and get better.
What's your opinion on students with severe depression and anxiety?
What is my opinion about students with severe anxiety and depression? I think, just like I've mentioned in the first question, it's My opinion is, I think that they're brave for coming forward. I think it takes a lot of courage to admit that something is not exactly going right, something feels off. So I admire them. I think that it's really, really brave and courageous, especially considering like the developmental age and the neuroscience between of this age, where avoidance is the easiest route to use. So students who don't resort to using avoidance, as in I'm just going to ignore it, and I'm going to, if I don't believe it or I don't think about it, it's going to disappear. So I think it's very brave and courageous.
Do you think there is some stigma around asking for help regarding mental health?
Do I believe that there is a stigma around mental health and asking for help? Unfortunately, yes. Sadly, yes, definitely. It's so many years. I think psychology is one of the oldest sciences, and we've evolved a lot, and we've progressed so much that recently we have the science of positive neuropsychology and how we can move forward from that. But unfortunately, there's still a huge stigma.
If so, do you think more students will come to you if we break that stigma?
Do I believe that people and students will come forward for help if the stigma is broken? Most definitely, because this is by rule of thumb. Everyone needs someone, or everybody needs space. We have, if you're experiencing, a buildup of stress, perhaps you just have difficulty. You're having a tough time choosing your subjects. Something so simple that just maybe because you're in a hurry, because of peer pressure, because of fees, or whatever the situation might be, you're forced to choose a subject that later on you might regret. Something as simple as that, just saying, you know what, before I make a decision, it might be helpful for me to talk about my stress, to sit with my feelings, give myself space to actually, just assess and to be able to understand what it is that I'm feeling. And after I've done that and I've processed my thoughts and my feelings, I'll make a decision. You'd be more accepting, and you know that you put in the work, the psychological work before you made the decision. You'd feel more at peace, even if, generally, even if you make the wrong decision, if you've done the process, you accept the outcome.
What are some ways we could make this subject less taboo?
So what are some things that we can do to make it less taboo? I think that is a very powerful question, because there is in fact something that we can do, and the answer to that is really simple. If we break mental health support into two categories, one is responsive and one is proactive. Responsive means when something already happened. So somebody who's depressed, somebody who's anxious, somebody who is struggling with with maybe self-harm or substance abuse or whatever it is, they are at a point where they're saying, my life is not going well, I need help. Then that's the time where most people want to go and get help. So that's where the responsive counseling or psychological or mental health support comes in. And that there's a huge taboo and stigma attached to that. However, there's a proactive approach, which is, if we look at Dubai in itself, is already being applied everywhere, from DO to DEWA to all of the government agencies. They always have the satisfactory rate us and how happy are you. So there is definitely a promotion for a pro-positive, pro-mental health, if we integrate this more in our life, where we are allowing people to actually look and say, like, hey, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about your service? That's a way that we're encouraging people to actually be more proactive about their mental health and positive psychology, that will help to, one, avoid things getting so serious where you break down and you actually need to get that help, and two, when you do break down, the path that you've taken for pro mental health, and you find positive coping mechanisms like either swimming, sports, the release of endorphins, dopamine, serotonin. If this is the wellness culture, we create that through positive approach. Then when we do get stuck sometimes in life, we'd be more willing to take the step to actually get that help, and we know that there's absolutely nothing wrong in pursuing mental health and well-being.
It's fine now. We can skip these two.
first.
Uh,
Done?
there is still like one question about professors.
I don't know any of them.
No, it's fine, but it's more of like a general about all professors, like how could they help the students.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think these two points.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
okay. What advice would you give to professors on dealing with students with depression and anxiety?
What advice would I give professors dealing with students with anxiety and depression? I think, again, I want to go back to the positive, the proactive. I'm going to squash that. I'm going to answer that again because this answer makes me very angry with professors. Delete all of that part. So, what advice would I give professors in dealing with students with mental health issues, anxiety and depression? I would say first, don't ignore it. Don't take it for granted that somebody is coming forward. More than saying what you should do, I'll say what not to do. Don't discredit their feelings. Don't make them feel as if though they are melodramatic or they're looking for attention or they're pretending or they just want out of their assignments. Take every cry for help as serious. And after you've taken it serious, the actions, and then we can decipher and filter whether there is a real need for support or whether it's something else. But on the initial step, because if we discourage students and we make them feel like they came forward because they are pretending or they're just being melodramatic or it's not serious, we're doing injustice to them, because if there's a potential other students are not going to come forward at all, and then we are actually building on the taboo and stigma, and making it actually bigger. And two, there's instances of where somebody could have said something earlier, could have did something, could have picked up something, and they didn't. And unfortunately, in a few categories, people regret that, because it's that one complaint or that one sign that they gave that they're not fine that we ignored, and it leads up to something much more serious and much more severe that could have easily been prevented had we taken action.
Are there any new campaigns that help students or raise awareness? If not, do you think there should be?
Is there currently any campaigns that support mental health for students? Not that I'm aware of, particularly for students, and I think that that's a phenomenal idea. That might be something the students of our university might consider. 100% with the proactive, there is so many things that you can do, like students can just sit same day of the week, same time, and just say, this is a mental health coffee break. Everybody come, let's talk about what can we do to improve our mental health and well-being. And I think that in its own is kind of a campaign just to support, just giving somebody the space and the safety to be able to express themselves. I think that's very powerful.
Since starting to work at UOWD, have you noticed the change of amount that people come to you?
Since working at UOWD, have I noticed the amount of students coming to me? Yes and no. I would say that it seems as if though when it's close to examinations or there's an influx of students that come in, and generally it's the level, the first wave of students that come in because of something that happened that particular day, but not to the extent where they are in tune with their mental health and well-being and with issues that they are struggling with, like ongoing anxiety, ongoing stress, ongoing avoidant attachment, all of these things. I'm not seeing that students coming forward with ongoing issues.
How do you feel your job position helps the students that come to you?
How do I feel that my job helps students who come to me? Again, I think that it's essential across the board, and like I said, by rule of thumb, everybody needs somebody. And at this age in particular, from adolescence up till the age of 25 is when the last stage of the brain is completely developed. And students are extremely susceptible to peer pressure, they are easily influenced, and if they don't have a safe space where they can go to an adult who they trust about something that they're experiencing, it's very easy for them to slip into making wrong decisions without them knowing it. And when they do realize that they maybe made a mistake, but then it's too late and they're scared and they don't have anybody to talk to. So I actually feel as if though during this time, you know, having a counselor is actually crucial.
Are there any new things that you've learned since starting your position as counselor?
Here? No.
Okay. That was the last question.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Is there any question you would like to